Hello, my gorgeous humans. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning show. I am your host, Marli Ansel, at Marli Ansel on the Instagrams, and this is the morning show where you come to get your daily dose of inspiration and level up into your highest being. It is all about real life, but we make it magical, and there is so much to talk about. So let's dive in. How are we doing? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Does anybody else just kind of lose track of the days sometimes? I woke up this morning thinking it was Wednesday. It is not. It is Tuesday. Let's get some better light going on here. But it still all the same feels like a very magical day. So, as some of you guys know, let me say this. Today we're diving into how to manifest when it seems impossible and what is likely getting in your way. It is going to be a very juicy episode. I am very, very excited to share this with you. But before we dive in, let's talk about those cosmos. Let's talk about life and what's happening. So, one of the things that has been very prominent for me, especially just in the last couple of days, is slowing down to speed up. This energy of slowing down to speed up. And just this morning, I was talking with my husband, and this metaphor came into my mind. So let me predicate it first. When you go through some changes, like internal changes, because that's what we talk about here on the show, changing your inner world shifts your outer world. When you go through internal changes, there is a feeling of slowing down. It's almost as if the world kind of just stops for a minute, sort of what it feels like. And while you're doing that inner work, you're very much internal. You're inside. You're looking at things of probably that you haven't ever looked at before, the depths of yourself. You're looking at what have you been identifying as? What have you been believing? What do you actually want to create for your life? Because in our busy, busy world, we can very much get caught up in the momentum of everything and stay on that surface level and never actually go to the depths of our being and then wonder why life is just staying the same and you're overwhelmed and you can't keep up with it. Because our world can be busy, 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 busy. And if we what's the word I'm looking for there? If we go with it, if we allow life to dictate our pace, it can be incredibly overwhelming because there's so much going on. Think about all of the different human vibrations that are happening out here. We have like 8 billion people in this world? That's a lot of chaotic energy if you try to tune into that. So, what I teach in my world is coming back into your center. Good morning, Lauren. Coming back into who you are, your vibration, getting clear on yours, building your stability from the inside out. And as you do that, you're going to experience a feeling of slowing down. But it's a really wonderful feeling. And it inevitably ends up creating your life at the level that you want it to be. Because for the first time ever, maybe you're slowing down enough, you're pulling your energy out from the outside world, and you're turning it now focused inward on your inside world. Well, this is where all the change that you want to manifest is created. So when you start putting your focus on that inner world, there's this feeling of slowing down because now you're just tuning to your vibration, not the 8 billion vibrations out in the world. So when you pull that energy in and you're just tuning to your vibration, it kind of quiets these allergies. It kind of quiets and you slow down. So when I was talking with my husband this morning, I was telling him there's this quickening coming. I can feel it. Like I can feel like it's been slow. And now over the next few days, it's going to be like quick, 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 quick. I could just feel it. And my schedule shows it. So the metaphor that I gave him that just came when I was talking with him is, when you go into a curve, you slow down going into the curve. You slow down when you change direction. And then when you're coming out of the curve, you speed up. So when we're moving through these big internal changes, there's this energy of slowing down first. And for a lot of people, that's uncomfortable. Amen. Especially if you're one of those people who has been surviving, is the word I want to use there, but someone who has been operating in a on the manic energy, the like quick, 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 I've got to hurry up and get a bunch of shit done energy. If that's where you've been operating, slowing down can almost feel like death because you're like, That's not okay. I can't do that." But in truth, slowing down is the only way to change direction to go where you want to go. So in my world, we do this is what we do. We kind of like it's not like you stop going to your job or you stop participating in the world. You just stop putting your focus, your power, your energy out there. You invert it to start focusing on yourself. And as you do that, then you gain all of that power back and you have the power now to shift and mold and change the direction to where you want it to go. And what's so fun is when you really start getting good at this, you can start to see the changes happen in your reality. And then you understand that you are the one who is the source of how your experience of reality goes. And everything in your snow globe is just mirroring it back to you. So then you start playing with it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I am literal magic. So this energy has been very present, and I think it's with so much purpose. As we know, all of these cosmo changes that are happening right now are brand new beginning energy. So everything is kind of asking us to do it differently. And I'm here for it. Doing it differently is one of those phrases that has just been reoccurring over and over and over again for years, years in our household. Like, do it differently, and it holds different meaning depending on where you're at in life. You could be called to do it differently than you've done it in your past. You could be called to do it differently than you've seen it done. You could be called to do it differently than you think it's supposed to be done. So receive it how it lands on you. But right now is a big time of changing direction. So, whatever that means for you, slow down enough to figure it out. You know what I mean? Because you slow down to speed up. And that's just the beauty of how it all works. So, today we're talking about how to manifest when it feels impossible. Such a good subject. And the things that are probably getting in your way. So, now if you tuned into the show yesterday, I told my personal story around this. One of the first times that I manifested something that felt literally impossible. Like, if you were to look at the timeline of my life and then what I actually did, it should not have been possible that I created what I did create from just doing the teeny tiny things that I did. But I'm going to break it down for you in a step by step formula so that you can see exactly how to do this for yourself. So, a lot of times when we want to manifest something and it feels utterly impossible, it's all coming back down to what we feel is possible for ourselves. It is not so much, is it possible or is it not possible? It's that we have a direct relationship with the thing that we want and we're deeming it not possible for us. Do you see what I'm saying? You're making it personal. So, one of the first steps that you've got to ask yourself whenever you are manifesting whatever it is that you want to create, think about something that you're wanting to create. Just think about the picture of it. Right away, what do you feel? If you feel excited, if you feel happy, good, you're tracking. We can move from there. But if you feel a contraction of energy, if you feel dread, if you feel, ugh, then we've got some work to do. Amen. So, whenever you feel a downshift in energy, it is always signaling to you there's something here that you're believing that's not true. Always, always, always. Everything in our universe is benevolent. 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 That's such a hard word. It's benevolent. So, when you feel a downshift in energy, that is a sure sign signal you're believing something that isn't true. And so what we've got to do is get to the bottom of that first and foremost. So when you think about what you want to create and you feel a downshift in energy, ask yourself why. Get super curious about it. Why do I feel this feeling right now? And what's really interesting is that you might discover that the thing that you are wanting to manifest You're wanting to manifest it because you think that it is the key to your happiness. Putting your power outside of yourself, saying, if I just had that, then all of my life would be good. So that's key number one that is pointing you to that's not true. That's not true. Nothing outside of ourselves is our source of happiness. And I know it can feel like that, especially if you're like, if just this one thing would happen, I would be, if I had $1 million, I would be amazing. Everything would be wonderful. Like, well, it's not the source, though. It's not the source. So what we want to look at is why first and foremost, why am I putting something outside of me on a pedestal? I'm making that thing my god. And this is really really something to think about because I mean we can get religious with it and pull the you're making something an idol thing from the Bible, but what you really want to look at is that you're putting power outside of yourself and you are the source. You are the source who decides your emotion, your perspective, your beliefs, how you move through life. And so if I'm putting something outside of myself as the reason that I will be powerful, that I will be happy, that I will feel complete, I'm idolizing something that isn't even real. It's not even real. Like if you really think about money, made up. Okay. Cars, man made. Houses, man made. Like everything we create, like it came from somewhere that we created. But if I'm putting it on a pedestal, I'm making it bigger than me. If I make something bigger than me, I can never have it. Did everyone catch that? Did we write it down? If you make it bigger than you can never have it because you're putting it outside of yourself. You're saying it's outside of me. And you are so powerful that you will create that as your manifested reality. You will create it's bigger than me, I can't have it in your reality. This is the power that we hold. So we've got to bring things down to earth. Hey, bring it down to earth. So if I'm putting something outside of myself and I am saying that I can't be happy until I have that thing, then I will literally create a reality where I never have it because I'm putting it outside of myself and I am deciding that I cannot have the emotion of of feeling happy until it's mine. It's all inverted, right? So, we want to flip that and we want to bring it make it easier. Make it simpler. I would enjoy the experience of having that. I would enjoy the experience of that being a part of my normal life. Do you see how we're just kinda knocking that pedestal down a little bit? I would enjoy that experience. I'm curious to see what that experience would be like. Ooh, do we see what we're doing here? So now, because the undercurrent energy, the undercurrent belief is that I need to be good enough to have that thing, right? So we're knocking that down. If I didn't have to change anything about myself, I just got to experience something I wanted to experience. Like, oh, I would enjoy just seeing what that's like. I would enjoy having that experience of life. Okay, all right, cool. So now we're bringing it down off the pedestal and you're bringing it to this level of I have the capability to experience that level of life. I have the capability to experience having that. I have the capability of this. Oh, could that be something that's on my path of life? Yeah, because I would enjoy the experience of it. So why not? So now we're bringing it down. We're not putting it as some huge thing that's outside of ourselves, saying, I will only be perfect, complete, happy, and whole when I have that thing. We're not doing that because that's keeping it separate from us. We're bringing it down to earth, down to our same level, making it smaller. Now, step two, think about it like this. What if it's no big deal? What if it's like literally no big deal? It holds no meaning, zero meaning. You could just have it. You could just experience it. You could just create it. No big deal. Make it even smaller. No big deal. Yeah. Why wouldn't I be able to manifest that? Like, of course I could create that. Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun. We should do that. Bringing it down, down, down. Get it off that pedestal. Now, referencing yesterday, when I manifested literally changing my entire life. I'm not going to retell the story. Go listen to episode 33 if you want to know the whole story. But when I manifested this massive change in my life, it was instigated from a place of unhappiness. And we dove into this yesterday, but I want to bring it back up because I think it is a very important thing. Most humans don't move until life is so uncomfortable that it forces them to move. Don't be most humans. This is where I was, and it works. It 100% works. But I was so unhappy with where I was that I was like, this has to change. This has to change. There was a level, though, of understanding within myself that I had the power to change it. I didn't know how, but I knew that I could. I knew that I could. And that is belief foundation number one. Know that you can change anything in your life. I don't care how big you think it is. I don't care how impossible you think it is. The first step, whether you know what to do or not, is to know that you have the power to change anything. Anything. Nothing is written in stone. Everything can be morphed. Everything is malleable. Everything. I knew that I could change it. And so, are we on 3? I think step 3 is that, okay, what do I want? So get clear on what you want. Step 1, bring these things, like stop putting your power outside of yourself. Step 2, know that you have the power to change anything in your entire reality. I don't care how big it is. Like, just play with that energy for a second. Like, I have the power to change literally anything. The only reason that you're not changing something is because you're afraid in some way. Truly. Like, get real with yourself. The only reason that you are not changing something is because you are afraid of something. So get real with yourself, figure out what that is. What am I actually afraid of? You'll figure it out. Okay, so then step 3 is get super clear on what it is that you do want. Know that I guess that's a culmination of step 1 and step 2. Know that it's possible. And then you want to ask yourself, what is something I have access to right now that could move me towards that? And it doesn't matter how small it is. Like, legitimately, it does not matter how small it is. If you're clear on what you want and you know that it's possible, there's going to be some action that's right in front of you. This is how our universal mechanism works. Nothing we can imagine is out of reach. If you can imagine it, it's within your reach. You might need to do some things. There might be some steps involved, but it is within your reach. So you have to know this. This is one of my foundational core beliefs from years and years and years and years of studying how the universal mechanism works, studying how energy works, how we co-create. So you can take my word for it, or you can go do your research on your own. But if you can see it in your mind, you have access to begin creating it. You have access to it. There's a pathway to it. If you can see it in your mind, there's a pathway to it. And so your job is to see it in your mind, know that there's a pathway to it, and then say, okay, what's right in front of me that I have the ability to do now? What's right in front of me? And it could be the smallest, tiniest thing. Referencing my story yesterday, I went and bought a used textbook and just started teaching myself the industry of fashion merchandising. That if you look at our normal society, just buying a used textbook and starting to teach myself should not equate to me automatically getting a job in this industry. But one step led to the next step, led to the next step, and before I knew it, like, literally, this was a matter of just a few weeks. Like, literally just a few weeks of me going from here to completely altering and changing my entire life. Let's see. Desi said, what about the opposite when something is taken away from you? Recently, my trailer at the river that has so much sentimental value is being taken away, and I was not prepared for that at all. So my instinct and my intuition with this question is that When we are very stuck on having things stay the same and we're not moving in the direction that we're meant to move, the universe creates catalysts that force us to move. And so there might be things that you are attached to that are anchoring you in place, keeping you from something that's better. I'm reminded of a story. Y'all know Wayne Dyer, spiritual teacher guy. He tells a story about attachment. And his son had this t-shirt that he was very attached to, like very, very like love this t-shirt, right? So Wayne, his dad, asked to borrow the shirt. And, son's like, yeah, of course you can borrow the shirt. Well, Wayne decided to keep the shirt and would not give it back to him. And the son was like, that's my favorite shirt. Like, what are you doing? That's my favorite shirt. And he would purposefully wear the shirt every time he saw his son. And he did it until his son released the attachment to the shirt. And then he eventually gave the shirt back to him. But he wanted to teach his son to not be attached to things, not be attached to things. Because when we put our emotion of happiness or joy or feel good in our things, we are controlled by our things. And he wanted to teach his son personal power. Like, these are just things. They don't define you. They don't create the emotion for you. You are the source of the creation around it. So that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's like when we get too attached to things, when we start pedestaling things, when we put our emotions of joy and happiness and love or whatever it is into something that's material, the universe will come in and humble you real quick. Like, whoosh, like, oh, you're attached to that? It's gone. And so I think it's all for the betterment of who we are meant to become. I think that it's kind of like the universe showing you you are putting your power in a material thing, and that's ego, and that is not going to get you anywhere that you want to be. So I have a theory that anything that is created by the ego will always crumble. You might be able to get it to build up for a little while, but inevitably it will crumble down because the ego is not supported. Soul and truth is what is supported. And so anytime we're putting our self-worth or our validation in a material thing, in something that's outside of us, it will eventually crumble down. So, I mean, you take this like small things like owning something, but think about it like big things too. Think about if you build a business and you're building that business for validation in some way. You're building that business because you want to have status of making a lot of money and owning your own thing. Well, universe is going to come in and crumble that pretty quickly because anytime that you build something from a place of I'm putting my power outside of myself and I'm doing it in order to get so that it's gonna come down and knock it down. So that good question. Good question. I think that that's a very valid question. So getting back to our formula, step 3, you're gonna take some action towards it. And I'm telling you, like, we can get so caught in our heads, and this is one of the things that will block you. You can get caught in your head thinking that what you're doing is not enough. Don't do that because the thing that's right in front of you unlocks the door. The thing that's right in front of you unlocks the door towards it. So when you're clear on what you want, you know that if I'm clear and I can see it in my mind, that literally means there's a pathway to it. And then you say, okay, what is the action I can take right now that moves me towards it? It could be the smallest, tiniest thing. It really doesn't matter. It is the action in itself that starts to unlock the door, no matter what it is, big or small. Referencing yesterday, and I can't say it enough. If you haven't listened to yesterday, go listen to yesterday's episode 33 where I told the story. I bought a used textbook. And then 3 weeks later, I was in my dream job. Like, it doesn't make sense. There's no logic here. But it was the action of moving towards it in good faith that created the next step, the next step, the next step. And before I knew it, my entire life completely transitioned. So there's a quote in the Bible that said, oh gosh, what is it? Belief without good works. Oh, what is it? Is anybody here? Oh, can you quote the Bible? It's like faith without good works is futile. That's not the right word, but it's essentially saying like believing in something without taking action is not going to create it. Taking action without believing is not going to create it. You got to have both. So it's like I've got to believe in it. I've got to know that this is my pathway. And here's the I think this is the key code right here. Do it for fun. Don't do it because you feel like you need it. You know what I mean? That's first step. We got to take that stuff off the pedestal. Don't do it because you faith without works is dead. There, thank you, Desi. Faith without good work is dead. Do it for fun. Do it because you want to start playing with your manifestation power. Don't do it from the perspective of, I need it in order to feel valid. If that's why you're doing it, that's step number one for you. You got to heal that up. You got to heal that up because you're putting your power outside of yourself. You're saying, when I have this, then I'll be worthy, then I'll be valid. And that's step number one. You are worthy as a human who breathes and exists. That's it. You are worthy because you are here. You have a gift within you to contribute to this world. Your vibration matters in the whole connection of everyone here. What you do, whether anyone sees it or not, matters. It matters. So we got to know that within ourselves. And then that allows you to manifest and create for fun. Like if you're up against something that seems impossible, be like, let's see if we can do it. Like, it's impossible? Cool. Let me see if I can do it. Do you see what I'm saying? Make it fun. I think it's the secret key code. Like, oh, that seems absolutely insane. Let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? Because the formula is so simple. See it, believe it, take the first action towards it. See it, believe it, take the next action towards it. See it, believe it, take the next action towards it. Don't look for it to be created after the first action. Because if every action you take, you're looking to see if it's there yet, that's not faith. That's not believing in it, right? You're looking to see what the next step is. After the first step, be like, okay, it's guaranteed the next step is supposed to appear. What's the next step? And make it this fun thing. Like, make it this game between you and the universe. Let's see the next thing I can create. Let's see the next thing I can create. And what's really fun is that when you start doing this, magical synchronicities are going to happen. It's going to blow your mind. It is going to be so incredible. And as you do it, you're going to start to see how all of this works. You're going to start to see, like, oh my gosh, it truly is a co creation. It truly is. I'm taking the smallest action, and then mountains are being moved in my favor. And what's really fun about it when you really start working with the vibe is that it always ends up being better than you expected. Anything that I have ever manifested has always ended up being better than I expected, like beyond what my little mind could have ever predicted. I mean, I just think about like the biggest things in my life have been the most incredible. Like everything that I have done that has mattered has been a massive quantum leap. Yeah, I shouldn't say that has mattered, but like the big significant changes in my life, like moving from the story I told yesterday, being in that one job and then securing my dream job and moving to Charlotte. That was a huge shift in my life, like massive quantum leap. And then I was in that job going like, this is it. Because there's nothing like getting your dream job and then realizing it is not a dream. And I wasn't really getting paid a lot. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I worked so hard to get here. What the hell? But what I didn't realize at the time, and this is how it usually goes, is that that was just a stepping stone. It was just a stepping stone to where I'm meant to be. And so that job, then I started to really apply my personal development, spirituality work, like really starting to develop myself from the inside out. So I want to point out here, it went from I'm wanting to create a career, which was something outside of myself. So I was working to create that career. It then shifted to I want to create myself. And when I really started applying the work that we talk about and teach all the time, when I really started to apply the work on myself, like create me, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What type of person do I want to be? How do I want my life to look? And who do I need to be for it to look like that? I started really creating myself. That was when I completely quantum leaped. I ended up doubling my income, going from that job to another job, doubling my income, and my work hours were, like, cut in half, which was so cool because that's, like, that's a raise in itself. You're working less and making twice as much money, like, yes, please. And I liked the job, which was, like, a whole different world, you know? I was very clear that my dream was not going to be corporate. It was cool. At that point, I started understanding these are just stepping stones. And then that led me to meeting this human that introduced me to that human that showed me, oh, there's this whole world of people teaching this stuff online that I love, the personal development, the spirituality, and they're making careers out of it. Like, wait, can I do that? Yeah, I think I can do that. And so then that led me to start showing up online and starting to do that consistently. And then I started my business, LLC'd it, got my website, and then boom, boom, boom. Then I met my husband. Next thing you know, I'm married with 2 kids. And it's like, wait, what? Quantum leaps just by taking these tiny actions that seemingly would not create it. Every quantum leap is just a series of tiny, tiny actions that all of a sudden push you into a new frequency of life. So when we say magic, yeah, it is like freaking magic. But you can't get there if you don't believe you can get there. And you can't get there if every step of the way you're going, it didn't happen yet. It didn't happen yet. That's not faith. You got to believe and take action. And when you take that action, then look for the next one, then look for the next one, then look for the next one, and make it fun. Make it like this scavenger hunt of a magical adventure of you just creating your whole life. Take the biggest vision that you can take and decide it's possible because you can see it in your mind. That's going to change the whole game for you. So, I'm going to say this last thing because I think this is the thing that gets in most people's way. Most people use the excuse of money or time as to why they cannot create what they want to create. They say, I don't have time to do that, or I don't have the money to do that. If I had the money, then I could do that. Time and money are tools. Time and money are tools. And the universe will provide the tools you need to create what you want to create. But it will not give you those resources until you start doing what you can. Do you feel me on this? So, yesterday we said, God will do everything that you cannot and nothing you can. So, you're asking for tools and resources before you ever take your first step into faith. Do you see what I'm saying? So, you have to decide and you have to not worry about time or money. You have to say, okay, what do I have access to? If you can see the thing that you want to create and you're like, yeah, but it's going to take like 50 grand to build that or blah, 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 or whatever it is, then that's not your step, is it? That's not your first step because you don't have 50 grand right now. Your first step is going to be right in front of you. And that first step is going to lead you to be able to have access to the resources you need to create the thing. You feel me on that? So most people allow these man-made things of money and time to get in the way of you manifesting. Nothing is bigger than you. Nothing is more powerful than you. You are the most powerful source of all of your creation. You are co-creating with an energy that creates worlds. It's you and God. It's you and the divine. It's you and the universe. Nothing is more powerful. Nothing. Not money, not time, not your boss, not your partner. Nothing. So you got to own that power. Bring it all back in and play with this energy. I want all of you to do this, and I want you to come back to me in 30 days and tell me what you manifested. Like, let's make it fun. Amen. All right, my loves. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much. This is such a fun endeavor that we're doing together. I love showing up with you guys every morning and starting our days with magic. Like, let's go. This is how life is meant to be. If this has resonated with you, please share the show. It helps us to grow our impact and get it out to more people in the world. I love you so much. And we are starting a new thing. On Fridays, we're going to do Q&A. Friday Q&A. So if there's something you want to talk about, if there's something you want to ask, we're going to dive into your questions on Fridays. So if you have a question for the show, you can email it to assistant@marlyansel.com. And if you don't want your name mentioned or any of that, we don't have to read your name. We can just dive into the subject. So send your questions in and we'll start doing some Friday Q&A. All right, loves, I'll see you here tomorrow for another episode of The Morning Show. I love you so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Goodbye, my loves.